You know who had no problem with the setup? The guy who's in charge of the USGA, Mike Davis, loved it. It was all good in his hood.
I'm sure.
Rich Lerner of the Golf Channel joining us right now from Shinnecock. How are you, Rich?
I'm doing really well, Rich. Yeah, they have the U.S. Open that they want. U.S. Open they used to deliver. The one where we constantly say it's a thorough examination, as if you're going to Dr. Hertzalot. Where you're going to wince, you're going to be relieved when it's over, and you damn well know that you do not want to come back for another 5 years. That's the thorough examination of the U.S. Open.
Well, I mean, I guess continue with the Fletch analogy then, Rich. It seems like they're using the whole fist here, though, is the problem, for some of these players. And to me, Is it have to be one way or the other, like extreme in either direction? Isn't there a gray area to try and set up the course, or is this the way that we should expect it from the U.S. Open? Rich?
I think it'll depend on the golf course. Yesterday was sort of a confluence of brutal factors. You had a firm turf, and then you had crosswinds gusting up to 30 miles per hour. Week in, week out, on the PGA Tour, these guys can sort of launch the ball high and know that it's going to come down softly. And they can control their golf ball. You see the balls rolling off, and it's happened to Tiger a lot. In fact, the triple bogey he made at number one yesterday, that was exactly where he was. Ball rolls down. He's got like 15, 20 yards. You could either chip it or you could putt it. He did both, and it came back down to his feet. So it's just difficult. Does it have to be super hard? No, they could set it up easily. But I think what they want is to challenge players in ways that week in, week out, they are not. And then beyond the sort of technical side of the game, they want to find out who can persevere, who commits to shots, who's patient, who hangs in, who's tough, who's got guts. And it's a climb up Everest. This isn't a stroll along the beach in Cabo San Lucas, which it typically is week to week. This is something altogether different. That
said, though, Rich Lerner in the Honda Insider Report, it sure looks like Dustin Johnson's having a day at the beach. He just rolled in while we were conversing a 45-foot, 5-inch putt for birdie, and he's 4 under right now.
Rich, this is almost unfair at this point. I mean, you go back to Kapalua, January, first tournament of the new year. He hit one of the greatest drives in the history of golf. 440-yard par 4, a little bit downhill, and he almost made an ace. We know that this guy can pound it forever. But now he's added touch to his game. So this would be the equivalent of your Blake Griffin, you 360 windmill dunks, spectacular freak athlete, and now you add Steph Curry's touch. So he's sort of Kevin Durant-ish. He's kind of unstoppable. Hits it, beautifully tee to green, but he's scrambling so well. And that's bad news for the rest of the field because this guy, I think he's interesting. If you think back to his major championship sort of history, he had Bunkergate in Wisconsin in 2010. I think you remember that.
Yep. And
then he shot an 82 at Pebble Beach in the final round. And then he had, a 2-iron out of bounds at the British Open in a few years after that. And he looked to be, if you remember the movie Bull Durham, he looked like Nuke LaLoosh, $1 million arm with a 5-cent head. That was kind of the book on Dustin, which was sort of unfair. Turns out he actually has a really good sort of brain for the game in that he lets mistakes roll off his back and he moves on. And now he's added this sort of short game prowess, which he hadn't had to go with his ridiculous length. And he competes. He's 33 years old. He'll be 34 in a week and a half, I think. And he's on the verge of 2 majors and 19 career wins. That's his, that's Ernie Els territory. This is a guy who's probably going to end up, when all is said and done, with, maybe 30 wins and 4 or 5 majors. He'll be one of the 20 best players of all time if he doesn't get hurt and if he stays focused.
And it looks like right now, Rich Lerner, the Golf Channel, the Honda Insider Report, it looks like he has the opportunity to run away and hide right now. I mean,
I agree. Yeah, I mean, this is a day where he can put some separation. Now, is 75 out there? It is. And, we saw a few years ago, we were handing it to him at St. Andrews. I think it was 2015, and he played a terrible round on Saturday. So on this golf course, anything is possible, but he's buying himself margin for error, and error is coming even for a guy like Dustin, so that's important.
Rich Lerner, the Golf Channel here on the Rich Eisen Show. What do you think the cut line's going to be?
It looks like double digits probably. And Tiger very likely won't make it. I mean, he is what he is right now, Rich. He's the 80th ranked player in the world, and that's kind of what he is. No better. Could he get better? Yes. Will he win again? I would say likely yes. Is he going to catch Nicklaus? No. And he just doesn't drive it. He doesn't drive it well enough, and there must be some sort of like performance anxiety, which sounds bizarre, given we're talking about the greatest performer likely in the history of the sport. But that was a long time ago, because he's hitting the ball by all accounts perfectly in his warm-ups, but it's a long walk from the range to the first tee, and he doesn't have the magic in his putter. He doesn't have the juice in his putter that he used to have. He just doesn't make anything, and he used to make everything. So, the grind is still there. The attitude seems good, but it's, he's almost 43 years old. He's running out of time.
Ask him the poll question. Chris Brockman, ask Rich Lerner the poll question here.
All right, Rich, which one of these guys is most likely to make the cut? Looking at Phil, Jordan, Jason Day, Rory McIlroy.
I'd say Phil.
Huh.
Short game. And I don't understand Rory. I just don't. I was in London for the BMW PGA Championship, the European Tour, and he shot 67, 65 Thursday, Friday. Alex Noren, who's top 20 in the world, played alongside. He came off the court, said, "I've never seen anything that good in my life. I should quit." He has the ability to blow your mind, but there's just something right now missing. And then I say that, and he'll do what he did at Bay Hill Sunday 64. But McIlroy the clock is ticking in some ways for Rory. He had 4 majors at 25. He was headed for all-time Bill. Nicklaus said he would win 15 majors back in 2014. So he's now close to 4 years without a major. And he's 29 years old. The window is shorter than people think. I'm a little perplexed by Rory, and I think Jordan, this is like the first really rough patch of his career. He's in a funk. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Will he get out of it? No doubt in my mind. He's too good, and he's too good an athlete. He thinks too well. So he will come out of it. I just don't know when. But inarguably, he's in a funk right now.
Rich, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the weekend out there in the Hamptons. Enjoy it.
Thanks, Rich.
You got it. That's at Rich Lerner, GC.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.